Okay, before I start talking on today's topic, I'm going to say this video is going to have 0 cuts in it. This will be a very fluid video. I'm just going to keep talking. I have my bullet points right in front of me right here, and I'm just going to keep going on because a lot of what I'm going to talk about today really flows in when I'm connecting social media to the real world and to connections, because I'm very interested in interpersonal connections and all that. So I will put the timestamps for each section in the description, but it is going to be a very fluid video. It will kind of seem like it's just going on and on. So yeah. Hi, my name is Arlis, and today's video is going to be on social media detoxing. I just spent the last 3 months with no social media. I was posting on YouTube for like a couple times. I posted on YouTube this break, but the only place I would post on YouTube would be on YouTube Studio, where I can't see any of the videos. So it's kind of like a little, kind of a cheat code to do that. If you hear anything in the background, it's my dog. Excuse her. But yeah, today's going to be pretty much of a connection between social media, how it affects your brain, in a very slight superficial method. I'm going to touch on that, how it affects your relationships, and what I noticed while going on this little break. To give some background, I have done this a couple times in the past. I spent around 2.5 years before last year with no social media because I just didn't like all the noise. I was a consumer. I was just watching videos, watching stories, texting my friends, just all of the normal stuff people do online. I just wasn't producing. I was a consumer, and I just would get tired of it. I would just be thinking, this is so boring. I'm just consuming other people's lives, and I'm just sitting here scrolling, doing nothing. And at that point, I wasn't really in the right areas of social media, so I wasn't learning anything either, and I truly hated that. Today, I am more of a producer / consumer, and when I consume, it's all of related content that kind of is sort of relevant to me in my life and my stage of life. So I try to moderate that, but that is kind of where I'm coming from. I have done this in the past, so it is something I do a little often. I have a history of doing it. I just, wanted to preface that. So my first point is, this is actually related to what I just said. I'm consuming too much and not producing enough. So I just read this article by Jay Shetty. He has a newsletter that goes out every week, it's daily, and it's a newsletter, and in one of the newsletters, he was talking about the screen time of CEOs and how much you're consuming on social media, and overall, you're just consuming too much. And his big point that he was talking about was that people who consume more than they produce stay stagnant in life, practically. How CEOs of companies, if you check their screen time, it would be like 5 minutes. Why? Because they're not spending time consuming. They are just producing. He stated this part, I think it was a 1-to-3 ratio. So for every 1 hour you consume content or media or consume anything, a product online, that should be equivalent to 3 hours of you producing. So if I spend 1 hour here scrolling on TikTok, I should spend 3 hours making a video or making a newsletter or making an article. I should spend 3 hours producing material, a product. And this kind of goes full circle with me now, because obviously I produce some content online now. I do a lot more production in my life. I mean, I am a founder of a club for my school. I'm working on, other bigger projects coming on soon this year. And just being able to get that other aspect of life where you're producing, you're giving out to the world and not only consuming, it's just so eye-opening, because you see how there's different ways to approach the same tools. And once you learn that there's different perspectives and different angles you can take things, and then you can see it differently, and they can work differently for your life, there's just so much more to that one product and to that one app. I was able to moderate, using my consumption of media. Like I said, when I made my YouTube videos, I only went on YouTube through YouTube Studio, so I would only be able to cut those videos and post them. If I were to watch a podcast, Like, for example, sometimes I watch a podcast on Spotify and then it wouldn't be in the video version, so I would go on YouTube on my Google, type in youtube.com and look it up on there. That was kind of the only time I would really go on YouTube to like go and find a video. But besides that, I really moderated it to kind of stay truly offline, not really be too much online. I think there was like 2 times where I did log into my personal TikTok and just went on there and like kind of checked up on my text messages with my friends and, you know, posted like a story or something. But besides that, I truly tried to stay completely off social media just to really get that full experience of being present in a sense. And with production and consumption, even now I only follow those who I admire so my FYP can be full of my future. So on my Instagram, if you actually go on my Instagram, you can see I only follow, like in my personal Instagram at least, I only follow people who are living what I see in my dreams. So if you live on a beach in Florida and you own your own house and you have like a nice car and you are able to retire your parents, I am going to follow you. If you have great morals and you go to church every Sunday and you are very much in your faith, I'm going to follow you. There are some people that I just don't follow. I don't follow their lifestyle. I don't follow their way of life. And yeah, we can be like, you know, acquaintances, that's fine with me. But I will not be having what I'm consuming in my life be misaligned with my future. There is like this statement that people always say, it's like if your actions do not align with your goals and your habits don't align with your goals are never going to happen. Your goals aren't just your vision, it is what you actually take action in your life and what is going to actually come out of those actions. That is going to be your future. So if your goal is to make $1 million, but you're not even working yet, you're not going to make $1 million. It's a little bit obvious. You have to apply those actions. And so in social media, at least now, even now, I take that action by, you know, not following people who have misaligned lifestyles. We can be friends in person, of course. I don't mind that. We can be acquaintances. That's perfectly me. I love having acquaintances. It's like those weak ties build everything. But if you are always out drinking, you know, not having a great sort of ambience to you that gives that prosperity mindset to me, you're not going to be on my social media. You're not going to be followed by me. I'm not going to follow you because I understand the algorithm only outputs what aligns with what you consume chronically. It reads, okay, she stayed on that video for 2 minutes. She stayed on that video for 1 second. I'm not going to put that content. I'm going to put that content. It reads it. And once you're able to kind of manipulate that into your benefit and say, okay, I'm going to follow that person, not this person, so that it gives me more content of business instead of, you know, clubbing. That's just working the algorithm to your benefit, and that is just one way I'm smartly designing the FYPs to be actually for me. So with that being said, as I was saying earlier, how I have done these sort of social media detoxes in the past, you have to understand that your life has different phases in it, and you have to adapt to each phase in its own significant way. At the beginning of this year, I made a strategy sheet packet where I log in my habits, my energy levels, my goals for each quarter of the year, and my overall goals for the year. I made a whole packet. It was like, I think right now it's 6 pages. I'm gonna still edit it because I'm starting quarter 3 obviously, and quarter 2 just ended, so I'm gonna finish my notes for quarter 2 and start my quarter 3 notes. But I was able to write down like what my overall statements were for each quarter, and I put a phrase for each one. And it's just understanding that each phase of your life has a different purpose. Your whole life may have a big overarching purpose, whatever that may be, but each phase of your life is building onto that, and there are different levels to each thing. You have to understand that each thing is centralized. Each phase is centralized to a certain foundational principle. So like for right now, I put right here, First quarter is exploration and gathering. Second quarter is organization and centralization. Quarter 3 is application and presentation. And quarter 4 is decompression and result analysis. So each quarter has a 2 or 3 word phrase that is elaborate, is pretty broad, but it sort of gives that big synopsis, of what the main goal is to do in that quarter. And then I go into, in my little notes, I go into how I'm going to accomplish that, what habits I'm going to have, etc., etc. So being able to understand that your life has different phases and that you need to actually change your approach to it in different ways has allowed me to open my eyes to what I need, exemplified by me doing that social media detox. I knew that, okay, I'm going to have finals soon. I'm going to have AP exams soon. I'm going to have to focus in school. I'm going to have tennis coming up. I'm going to have basketball. I'm going to have, summer heat coming in. It's going to be a fast season. I have to focus. And so I took that as, you know what? I'm spending a lot of time on social media right now. I'm consuming a little bit too much, where this time I'm consuming it each day could be spent producing my homework or going to practices and practicing on my own and doing other production stuff in my life and sort of growing in that aspect. So I chose to shift from consumption and production online to production online and production in other aspects of my life. That was what works for me. You have to fixate on that fact that your life is not a fixated straight line. There's different phases where you'll be going up. You have to work harder. You have to, there's some rest periods. There's just phases. And alongside that, there's no timeline, okay? You can have different phases that you're working in, but there's never a sort of certain win period. You shouldn't put the ceiling anywhere where you can reach it, honestly. Your ceiling should always rise with you, and under that, you should have certain phases when you're working up, taking rest periods, working up on a different thing, leveling up in those different methods and in those different aspects of life. And then being able to also understand that there's no strict timeline. And that might sound a little bit contradictory, like, oh, wait, you're saying to go into phases and do this and do that and do that, but then I'm never going to actually win in one part? No, I'm not really saying that. I'm saying there's never an end point, okay? Besides death, there's never really an end point. You should always be working. You should always be hustling. And in that work, you should have an idea of what you're working towards, but also understand... Also understand that life can change, but at least you had the priority set straight, right? Because if there's one thing that misalignment in life hates, it's successful, thought out plans. And so if you already have those phases planned out, and then you have the idea that okay, things can happen, but it's not going to throw me off guard too much, then you're going to be pretty secure in your, your lifestyle outcomes. Say hi, Zoe. Okay, next up. Embarrassment is a choice. I love this one. Okay. Whew. I'm going to give 2 stories. Okay. So I was walking Zoe the other day, and I was walking by a person. And they go, oh, hi, your dog is so cute. Can I pet her? And she's pretty friendly. So I'm like, yeah, of course, go ahead. And out of nowhere, she starts barking at them. And I'm like, yeah, she's just she gets a little barky sometimes. It's the summer heat, she's a very friendly dog. She only ever barks when she's scared. So I was like, yeah, she might be a little scared of you. Sorry about that. Have a good day. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, have a good day. Bye. See you. And my aunt, she was there with me, and she goes, Arlis, did that not embarrass you? And I was like, what? Embarrass me what? She's like, that your dog reacted like that. I was like, reacted like that. I was like, no, why would it embarrass me? She's like, yeah, well, you know how parents, when their kids act out a little bit in public, they get embarrassed. And I was like, I mean, sure, but I mean, she's a dog. She was scared. She's never met these people in her life. They're strangers. So she could react. Like, that's fine with me. She's scared. Why should that be embarrassing? And that's kind of when I started to acknowledge that embarrassment is a choice. You decide to be embarrassing. You decide to be embarrassed, and something is only embarrassing when you make it embarrassing. There are so many times that, like, I could have been embarrassed of something in public, and I just, like, laughed with somebody. Like, I was at the gym 2 days ago, and I was watching the World Cup game on the TV in front of the bikes. So I was biking, and I go to put my water in the water holder, and it should have like a bottom in it, and my water bottle fell right through it and went on the floor and like did a huge bang. It was crazy. I have no walla, so it was loud. And it had this huge bang, and I just like laughed. And then this guy in front of me, he laughed too, and we were just laughing together. And I was just thinking, like, wow, I could have made that so embarrassing. Like, I could have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna cry. Like, no, be happy. Like, life is about making mistakes. Just let it happen. It happened already. I can't go back in time. Let me just laugh about it and put it in a different spot. Let me laugh about it and realign. You just have to understand that you control the emotions you conduct to others. So if you are always like somewhat embarrassed of yourself, people are gonna perceive you to be to do embarrassing stuff, and then you're just not gonna love your image. I don't think if you were always embarrassed, you're gonna love your image, and I think you should want to love your image and you love yourself. So when you can, I know sometimes you can't really avoid it because there might be times when it's not in your control, but just don't be embarrassed of yourself. If people are embarrassed of you, fine, let them be. Just be yourself though, and don't be embarrassed of you, okay? Never be embarrassed of you. Alongside that emotion, stress is an emotion. Obviously, there's a state of being stressed, that's a state of mind. But you can also feel stressed, and under that emotion idea, you just have to sort of live with it. This statement kind of comes from a person I met at the gym. He was talking to one of his friends, and I overheard them, and I told him after, like, this is amazing. He goes, yeah, stress is an emotion. You just have to learn to deal with it and learn to manage it just like every other emotion. And I know it sounds pretty like baseline, like, okay, that's kind of normal. But literally, I was like overhearing this, and I stopped stretching, and I was like, what did he just say? I think he had to have said it in a more complex way, but he basically just said that stress is an emotion. You need to learn to live with it and learn to control it and use it to your benefit in a way. So just like happiness is, some things will make you stressed, but like everything else, it's about how you react and how you take that information that your body is giving you. So your body feels stressed. Okay, I'm stressed. What do I do? Do I keep working through this? Do I keep getting stressed? Or do I want to walk? It's all about how you react to it, how you control it, how you manage it. You have to understand some things in life, they will make you stressed. They will make you like disconnected. They will make you just go completely insane. It is all about how you read the situation, how you react to it, because that's the only major thing you can control is your reaction. Okay, social media gives no real connection in the terms of relationships. I understand social media is all about connecting. Like TikTok is like, connect now, let's connect. Like all that, Snapchat, add, accept, like become friends. It's so misleading because I honestly think there's no way to make real relationships on social media until you take the things that you learned on social media and apply it to real life. Like, it could be dating somebody. You can meet somebody online, and until you truly meet them in person, you will never know what that person is like. Remember, on social media, people show you what they want you to see. So you could be seeing like 0.25 of their actual life, fall in love with them, and then see them in person and be like, wow, you're a completely different person. Because social media is a false narrative. You are not able to see the whole entire thing of that person. You're not able to see that whole life of that person. And when you put yourself to just perceive people and to make those real connections in the way that you see them online, in a like isolated only in that perspective, you are going to misalign yourself so much with life. Like, you see people will like, it's like the epidemic of like male loneliness. I saw a podcast on this where somebody mentioned how like there's too many baddies online, and like there's too many good people who look good online that we are all desensitized to it. And then when you go out in public and you only see one baddie, then there must not be anybody fine in my city. But literally, you're seeing all the pretty girls in the world, which by the way, we're all pretty. But you're seeing like people from Afghanistan or any country, like you're seeing from Russia, from France, from Italy, from the United States, from anywhere, and you are getting it all in 10 scrolls. And then you go outside into your city in the small side of New York, and you're wondering, wait, why do people not actually look like this in real person? Well, because you're seeing the entire world in such a shrunken perspective that you can literally not perceive people as they are to the proper way. You're not able to truly understand humans, and therefore you can't make those adequate connections that are necessary to make relationships and friendships and true connection. I have written here third spaces from AP Seminar. So I took AP Seminar last year, and in a project I did in that class, I wrote about how third spaces are being told to be also online, and that is just not true. You cannot have a third space on social media, and you have to understand that. If you don't know what third space is, it's a space where people connect outside of work and home. So it can be a library, a bookstore, but it cannot be social media. And this is kind of leading into the male loneliness epidemic stuff. The people are too lonely, people don't have any friends anymore, people don't go out anymore, because people are thinking of third spaces to be social media. And social media is not a third space. Absolutely not. Because it does not enhance any real, like even just in your brain does not get any of the dopamine or all those neurotransmitter chemicals given to your certain neurotransmitters at all. You don't get that, like that neuron connection. You don't get it in social media at all. It's all false dopamine hits, and it is completely ruining the perspective of relationships, and then you're unable to spend that time that you spend scrolling for 3 hours a day on actually connecting with others in third spaces in person. So with social media not giving any real connection on the terms of relationships, and you are not actually truly able to generate real connection, real human connection until you're offline. When you're so chronically online, you are like missing the opportunity to actually get the correct connections you need in life with people around you, and just being able to see like you just step outside. Like people don't really talk anymore. Just talk to people. It is like it feels so like I feel so helpless. And I know I'm not alone on this. Like, you just feel so helpless when you see people around you just isolated. And then you're just like, just get off your phone. Just get off the phone. Like, it's so toxic. It's the worst thing in the world. And it's so annoying to me that how people are not given the actual knowledge on social media and what it actually does to your brain. Like, guys, these apps are made with the best scientists. They work their butts off to make these apps to latch you onto it and get you hooked and have such a great algorithm. And the fact that, we're given all these resources for free. You have, TikTok, Instagram, all those things that are just there for free, and people aren't told the harms. Like, when you drink a drink and it says in the back, caution, don't drink for children, not drink for pregnant women, don't drink if you have heart disease. No, that's not written on any social media. Oh, it's in the terms and conditions. Like, nobody reads that, and they know that. That's why it's there. Should we all start to read the fine print? Absolutely, please. Let's read the fine print. Let's make it normal in society. But nobody's truly going out there and, speaking on that, and that's why people are so isolated. That's why people don't understand the dangers of social media, and that's why it's such a toxic environment to be in, and it's so normalized. Like, it's normal. I mean, I have social media. I'm posting on YouTube right now, but it's such a toxic relationship that we have, that society generally has with each other, to the point where we don't have the time and we don't take the time to actually have real connections with one another. That was a very long point, but that I really wanted to push on because that gets me really mad. So now, following the previous point, social media is a tool. If you use social media wrong, you will get hurt. If you are just a consumer, you will get hurt. You will spend hours a day scrolling and doing nothing. You need to understand it is a resource, okay? You can either use that resource to consume, you can use it to produce, or you can use it to engage. You can produce by making content or connecting with others in that sort of way. You can make products online that you can sell and give to others, or you can make products in person that you can advertise online. Then you can also consume by watching videos, engaging with other people. You can be the customer. But it is up to you how you use it, okay? I would say using it wrong is consuming too much. I typically try to consume only like things that are gonna be, an inspiration to my content. So I will like only follow certain creators. I will follow other gym girls. I will follow other lifestyle content creators, and I will look at their social medias and be like, wow, she did good with that lighting. I want to try to use that. Or wow, that point is very strong. Let me take note of that. It is up to you how you use the tool, though. You can either, it's like using a pencil, right? You can use a pencil to write a note, you can use a pencil to write script, you can use a pencil to draw, or you can just break it in half. It's up to you what you do with the tool. Do you think that the creators of social media care if you get hurt? And by hurt, I mean where you're addicted to it, that you waste your time. They don't give a damn. They don't care. They want your attention. This point I have basically in all caps in my document right here. They want your attention. When you are hooked onto social media, your attention is in their hands, okay? You have given away all your agency. They now have the power to control what you consume and what you believe, because that is just the honest truth of social media. The algorithm gives you what you react to, and also kind of gives you a strain of what the apps truly want to address to you. I don't really know what to fully say in this section, because it's just, there's so many pathways to speak about this on attention and how attention is the most valuable currency in modern day. I'm gonna try to summarize it into this. Your attention can convert into anything in this century. It can convert into money, it can convert into advocacy, into voice, into typing, it can convert into safety, it can convert into literally almost anything, okay? Your attention is the most valuable thing of the century to others right now. Because if they have your attention, they can play a role in influencing you. And we are sort of at a time where everybody has somewhat of the same attention capacity. So it's really not anymore about, who has the most attention capacity, but it's more about who can grab the most attention. Like, it's not about, okay, I'm gonna try to get this much of that person and that much of that person. No, we're at this point with social media, we're kind of all on the same plane. And it's not anymore about how much attention per person you can get. It's about how many people can you engage for a certain amount of time. So they will all be having the same attention capacity on that product, but it's more about how many people, what quantity of people, not what quality. Social media is very minimal on quality, as you know, like people can go viral for like having the worst quality videos, and it's not just because of the quality, it's because of the quantity, the intricacy of the message, and just the way the video may be formatted. That is what drives that product to go be successful. That point, I truly don't have enough like words to say currently on it, but the main message of that one point is attention is the most valuable currency of this century. Learn to control yours and learn how to grab others. I just bought a book on that actually. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'm really excited to read it. But yeah, attention. It is the biggest book. This is my last big point. Deep breath. Guys, it is your life. Okay? I can't tell you to delete social media or make content. Okay? I don't control your life. I just spent 30 minutes talking about social media and how it interacts with your real life, how it interacts with your life, how it affects your environments, your people, your relationships, and how it affects your attention, your brain. 30 minutes. But I can't tell you to delete social media. I can't tell you to start making content today, because that is just not my role. I am not like your teacher currently. I'm not you. You should control your own agency. You should control your own life. But what I am trying to say is understand both sides of the lawn, okay? Both sides will at some point say the grass is greener on the other side. We know bias, right? There's bias. If I'm over here, I will always believe the grass is greener on the other side. Or maybe I'll believe my grass is better. But until you go and see both sides of the lawn for yourself, until you see both perspectives to a fight, you will never completely understand the reality. You have to have a sort of unbiased opinion. And on this topic, I would say an unbiased opinion would mean having social media, producing content maybe, or maybe deleting it. However you choose to manage your interaction and your relationship with social media, I just want you to know that this is your life and this is your opportunity to use it as you want, okay? I think I presented some points here that kind of provide a little bit of an aspect and a little bit of an insight to each sort of way you can interact with social media. It is up to you how you want to interact with it, but knowing you have the accessibility to do anything you want with social media, well, not anything, but majority of what you want with social media is a key point in understanding social media, because if you don't understand how the game works, then you're going to get beat by it. If you don't get how the game works, you're going to get crushed. So I very much so encourage you to, do research on this. Take advantage of the flexibility that social media provides you in this century, okay? You're living in 2026. People dreamed about what 2026 would be back in the early 1900s. They dreamed we would have all these great things, and now we have social media. And if you are misusing it in whatever way you interpret that, you might not get the best out of your buck. And your buck, like I said, is your attention. So I encourage you to just do whatever you want to do with social media. Just stop being comfortable and get off the path of consuming and find a way to make the game work for you. Whether that's producing content, advertising, getting off it completely, however you want to do it. But just make the game work for you. Make it work in your favor. The final step is for you to take action. The algorithm is already made. The scientists already spent the decades getting the degrees. The app is probably already downloaded on your phone. the final step, the last piece to the cake, the last piece of the puzzle that is gonna make it click. And it might take a few years, it might take a couple months for it to actually, become beautiful. But the final step for you to do the best thing for you is for action. Take action and do it as you will. Use social media as you will. Use it any way that you find fit. But take the action.